But then I put a post on Facebook, and I tagged my guy DJ Samps, who I don't know why I don't be connecting with more. And he sent me this Precyce Politix record featuring, I think, Lena Jackson, Heavy Fur. And woo, that joint, man. So, first of all, what's good, brother? How are you?
What's good, man? How you doing, man?
I'm well, man. I'm well. I guess my first question would be, where are you from? Well, I kind of know where you're from, and people who heard the hip-hop and me probably know where you're from. But for the people listening who haven't, where are you from, man?
Brooklyn, New York, man.
All right. And some of your verses, you talk about ciphers in the hallway. So who were some of those rappers that influenced you or listened to you, that you listened to, that made you want to go out into the hallway and jump into those ciphers?
Raekwon, the chef, definitely. You know, one of my idols. Prodigy of Mobb Deep. You know, Prodigy of Mobb Deep, absolutely. I tell people, like, you know, my top 5 is different from yours. You know, everybody talks about the regulars, the Biggies, the Nas's, and all that. Like, my top 5 is Pharoah Monch. You know, my top 5 starts out with Pharoah Monch. You know, MF Doom. And Raekwon the Chef, Prodigy, and, you know, the 5th one, I always go back to Big L. You know, it's like my top 5 is different from everybody else's. And, of course, there's, like, honorable mentions, too, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but those are, like, the ones that really made me want to get up and try to do this. And, you know, it was just, you know, for Ciphers in the Hallway was just me, like, just playing around with my friends, you know, just in the hallway, just rocking, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case is. But whenever I listen to those cats, especially, you know, more so Prodigy and Raekwon, whenever I listen to them, like, I was just like, man, yo, like, this is really dope. Like, this is something that I could see myself doing, because I started out writing poetry, and I've always been a huge fan of music. So, you know, hip-hop, you know, bringing those two things together, that was just like heaven for me, you know. So I'm listening to the hip-hop and really getting into it, and then, you know, tried my hand in it, and, you know, the rest is history.
Well, first of all, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. That 5 you got ain't too shabby anyway, you know, like lack of fame aside. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever told you, and I could tell the poetry in your music, but anyone ever told you, like, you great at, like, telling stories? And what I mean by that, most people, when they describe a storytelling rapper, will think of somebody like Slick Rick, and it's a fiction. It's, like a fake robbery or something or whatever. But I feel like people can tell stories about themselves, and it's real vivid and things. And we were talking, you know, offline about the hip-hop and me, but the verse, I love it, first of all. But the part where you were like, my brother did a dime, came home looking like Vin Rames. And then it was like you started a conversation with him and shit. Like, what up, bro? And then you describe the game right now. So when you're creating, how do you decide, like, what's going to be interesting in a song? You know what I'm saying? Like, you basically just said my brother did 10 years and he came home real big. But the way you put it together, you know what I'm saying? It's a story. So how do you decide, like, what things in your life and what moments and, you know, things that you add to songs, or do it just come to you?
I mean, it's like, you know, with that joint, you know, my brother came home looking like Ving Rhames, and then I was like, what up, bro? You know, Baby Boy got nicer with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, the metaphor, but Baby Boy and Ving Rhames, and Ving Rhames going to jail and Baby Boy. But the thing about it is, like, you know, I feel like relatability, man. It's like, it's all about being relatable. You know, it's like it's like nowadays, now that I'm older, it's like I would rather be relatable. I'd rather be more relatable than dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you're relatable and if people really feel your story, you're going to be dope anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the like the bippity boppity lyrical acrobatics. I mean, I still do that sometimes, but it's like nowadays, you know, my life is so crazy, and it's like, you know, things are more real. Things get more real to you as you get older. So it's like you're not really trying to start every rhyme like, guess who's back and my flow this and that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're really trying to just be more relatable and spit more facts and drop more jewels, hopefully, on people. So it's like me, what I decide is I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to always tell my story. And it's like you can tell your story in a way where it's going to grab the person's ear. Like, I know what I listen for when I listen to MCs and when I listen for rappers that I think are real dope, like real nice, you know what I'm saying? And it's like I see what they do and how they say it. Like, you know, going back to one of the greats, like one of my favorites, Prodigy. Like, Prodigy can say something, and you could think it's simple, but the way that he says it is crazy, and it makes you like want to listen to him more. Like, I never, like, you know, I remember when he was like, keep your rhymes to yourself. We make fools out of, you know what I'm saying? Like, when he said that, he wasn't trying to do no acrobatic stuff, but he was just letting people know, like, nah, man, we ain't trying to hear your rhymes. Get up out of here. And I can really see that because I'm pretty sure people come up to him all the time trying to rhyme. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's how you say things and how real you carry yourself in and out the booth. You know what I'm saying? So it's like me, if I feel like if it comes to me, I write it down. It's like it may not be interesting to you, but it's going to relate to somebody. Somebody's going to relate to it. And it's like a lot of stuff that I've been through, you know, people can relate to it. And that's a gift and a curse, because when you go through a lot of hard stuff, you realize that a lot of other people go through hard stuff too. So I'm really trying to speak to my fan base. Like, this is what I went through. This is how I'm feeling. Like, in the same verse you were referencing, you know, when I was like, you know, when Shorty was like, yeah, that's what they all say. I mean, I really went through that. It's like, you know, I'm trying to tell people, yeah, man, I'm trying to do this rap joint. And then, you know, the lady I was dating at the time, she's like, yeah, all right, everybody want to be a rapper. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, you ain't even really trying to speak life into me right now. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's like that's, I mean, if you authentic with it and you real with it, it's in your music and you can hear it. You know what I'm saying? So the real ones can hear it and they can relate to it. So, you know, I don't really pick and choose what facts to put in there. Like, I really put all the facts in there. And I just, you know, I've been blessed to be able to word it a certain kind of way where people's like, all right, that's really dope. That's crazy how you said that, or whatever, you know? So that's what that is.
Yo, so I'm going to piggyback off of that because there was a young lady I interviewed on my last show, Karaya Brene, and she commented after I posted, I played the song, and she was like, I love that joint. And I think you said something like, without your ears, I have no voice, or something to that regard. I might have messed that up or whatever.
No, you got that right.
Here's a young lady from Minnesota, you know what I'm saying? Don't know who you are, was like listening to the show because she was being interviewed. Not saying she hadn't listened before, but you know what I mean. And she just heard your joint being played. And, you know, a lot of people hear stuff and they bob their heads to it, but they don't seek those people out to give them praise or whatever, especially these days. So would that make you feel like, you know, just a stranger, you know, like, yo, you dope, yo. I love that track.
Mean, yo, it's always, to me, it's always like surreal, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm sitting here creating, like, I hate everything I do. And it's not because, you know what I'm saying, it's because I'm so hard on myself. Like, I hate everything I do. I'm so hard on myself. Like, I can't listen to my own stuff unless I'm, like, getting ready for a show and, you know, I'm rehearsing. But then, you know, for someone to reach out to me, I mean, that's, like, super dope. Like, recently I was on Shade 45, and we had that interview online. And I was on Shade 45, and I did the interview, and I did a freestyle, and I spoke about mental health. And people was hitting me on my social media plugs, like they were DMing me and inboxing me like, yo, I just heard you on Shade 45. You killed that freestyle. Yo, that's really dope how you talked about, you know, mental health. I'm going through this too. I'm going through that too. And you know what I'm saying? And it's like people are reaching out to me. And for like a few days after that, people were posting my albums like, yo, I just heard this dude on Shade 45. This is his new album. This is crazy. Yo, he got a joint with Drugs Beats. This album is crazy. And people are, like, just posting my stuff, and I'm starting to see, like, sales going up for certain albums. And I'm like, wow, yo, like, it's crazy. It's crazy when I go look at my demographics and everything, when I go look at the statistics with my distribution company, and I got people in Germany buying my stuff. I got people in Spain buying my stuff. Like, you know, the UK people are buying it and bumping it. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing my joints on different websites, and I'm like, wow, yo, like, you know, the kid from Brooklyn, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of places where my Timberlands haven't touched the soil, people are hearing my voice, you know what I'm saying? And my man, he's an author, like, he writes books and all of that. And he told me, he said, yo, man, remember, you know, something that you do could end up being somebody's favorite joint. And that's how art works. You know, like, me and my people, we always try to speak life into each other, especially when it comes to, you know, the art. So it's like, he hit me with that, and I was like, that's deep. That's a deep jewel, because that's the truth, you know? I mean, I got people coming to me like, yo, my favorite joint on this album is this, and yo, what's going to happen with Frankie Needles, and, you know, what's going to happen with this? Because, like, you know, I direct videos as well, and I also write scripts and all of that, and I'm also an actor. So it's like I try to put everything into one. That's why when I put out albums, they're kind of like mini movies. You know what I'm saying? It's never going to be like, all right, yo, here's 11 joints. Go have that. Let me get that $9.99 off you. Nah, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're going to get an experience, like how albums used to be back in the day. You know what I mean? Like only built for Cuban links and, you know, stuff like that. There's always a story behind what I do. And it's like it always reflects a part of my personality and always reflects like something that, you know, has happened, you know, either to me or to somebody in my family. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm always speaking from truth where, you know, where I've seen it, you know. So it's like, it's crazy how people are saying that they can relate and that they love it and that it's super dope. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always blown away by that, and I'm always humble. Like, I always thank people. And, you know, like I told the young lady, yo, without your ears, I have no voice. You know what I'm saying? You could sit here and rap all you want to. You could be mad nice with the rap, but if ain't nobody listening to you, you really ain't saying nothing because ain't nobody hearing you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, you know, without your ears, I have no voice. I'm always humble when people come up to me. Rappers come a dime a dozen right now, and there's mad talented MCs out here, male and female. So for somebody to take the time and listen to me, or like you take the time, hit me up, we do this interview, you know, I'm grateful for every opportunity. There's no such thing as a small opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love everything. And whenever somebody comes up to me and be like, yo, Slice, that joint is dope, I love it. I'm glad that you doing your thing. I mean, that's love, man. That's a blessing every time.
Word. Yeah, you talking about this humbleness, but MCs are very competitive, and it's my last question about hip hop and me, and we're gonna get into this heavy first. I like, first of all, like, I felt like, man, it was almost like a harder version of what's the common joint, I Used to Love Her. Like, it seemed like y'all always like telling y'all hip hop story. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna tell me you was like, all right, I'm on this track with Shred and Rise, I gotta come with mine.
I'm gonna tell you, like, Raz Rashid, his pen is crazy. You know what I'm saying? You know, Shred is dope. You know what I'm saying? Shred is definitely dope. Raz Rashid, man, I've seen Raz perform more than I've seen Shred. You know, so I'm not trying to take nothing away from Shred or nothing, because Shred is dope. You know, I've sat and I've built with him. We did a cypher together. Everything's cool. He's very talented. Raz Rashid's pen is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And when he approached me about it, he's like, yo, Slice, I want you on this joint. And boom, 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 boom. I said, all right, bet. That's what's up. And anytime somebody come up to me and they say, like, yo, you know, I want you on this joint for a feature, you know, whether it's somebody with a big name or not, like, I'm going to try to come for your head, but I still got mad love for you. You know what I'm saying? Because, because like you said, like, you know, it's competitive, you know, because nobody wants to be the weak verse on a joint. Like, nobody want to be like, yeah, son, like, we could have done without him. You know, and then he was telling me, he's like, I want you to set it off.